Peter. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm Michelle Stuchel, Sapphire Ambassador, and I am so excited for this call. You ladies are in for a treat. For those of us that were in Hawaii, we got to hear firsthand Madison Ambrosetti's story, her incredible story. And she's going to be sharing tonight. And so, Madison, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your story with us and our team. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I would love to know, just by starting out, what made you get started with Plexus, and why did you join? Like, for the products, for the business? Tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Okay. Yeah, so I actually got started. A lot of you probably know my mother-in-law, Angie Ambrosetti. She's a new diamond. And she started in 2015. My husband and I were 19 years old. We just got married. And I was like 100 pounds soaking wet. Like I was teeny tiny, and she was starting this new Plexus journey that Megan Goff had introduced her to. And I just thought that it was really for weight loss. It wasn't for me, yada, yada, yada. I was quite the hater. Uh, and I thought it was silly and a pyramid scheme and all of the nasty things that we've probably all heard. And so I was just not interested. Fast forward to 2017, we had our first child. Um, and I was 21 years old. I got horrible migraines out of nowhere. Like they just came. Um, and then I had actually really, really horrible constipation. And that's why I started because I was going to a doctor. I was about to have surgery. My mom is a nurse anesthetist, and I knew what that surgery entailed. And I also knew the whole anesthesia staff that would be putting me to sleep. And so I was like, I will not do that. So after trying everything, I decided to give Plexus a try out of desperation. And I did not want the business. We had no money. I couldn't even pay for my own products. She had to buy them for me. And yeah, I was just I thought the business was like cute and fun and silly, but like I wasn't interested. Um and I didn't share for 2 years. So until 2019, and I started sharing because there was an iPad incentive, and it was if you add six, you get an iPad. Um and I was like, oh, I'll get the iPad. So I added six family members basically, and that's how I got started. I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out for a really long time. And I went gold in 2020, December 2020. And then all my builders quit, and I didn't re-rank for 3 years. And so I re-ranked in August of 2023. Earned gold school in Austin. Actually, I just got a memory on my Facebook that it was a year ago today that I was in Austin as a struggling gold. Uh, and then got a lot of wind in my sail, and which we'll go more into this, but I ended up hitting senior gold in December of 2023. So 3 years later, I hit senior gold. And then in February, I hit ruby on February 28th, senior ruby on February 29th, and emerald on March 31st. So,
I love this so much. So, just in case y'all missed that, did you hear she joined in what, 2017?
mhm.
Okay, 2017. She did not share for 2 years. And then she wanted the iPad. So she had six family members join, and then kind of stuttered, stopped all the way to gold.
Mhm.
At that point, I'm curious, what made you share at that point? Like just the success, or what, 1 foot in, 1 foot out? Tell me what your mindset was at that point.
I am, well, as Megan Goff calls it, she's one of my uplines, a carrot chaser. So if you drop a prize in front of me, like you better believe I'm gonna get it. Like I
Yeah,
don't care if I had the money to buy it myself. If I don't care. I want to earn it.
yeah.
And so it was little bitty incentives that I kept wanting to earn. And I basically got all the way to gold that way. Um, and so then the little bonuses were nice because I was a stay-at-home mom. Like I said, we were very young. We actually bought a home when we got married at 19. So we
Wow.
really had no money.
Yeah.
So the little bit of extra here and there was really nice. And that's what kept me kind of like one foot in, one foot out.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So let me ask you, at that point, like, did you see the bigger picture of like Hawaii, six-figure income, Lexus? And if you did, what were your thoughts about that at that point? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so my mother-in-law was actually already Emerald. So I knew like what that entailed. I knew about the car. I knew about she had, well, I think so the year I started sharing was the year she went Emerald, but she went Emerald before I started sharing. And so I saw the car and then she was going to Hawaii and then um just like the traveling, my husband and I always have like, we were like, we don't care how broke we are. We will always take our kids all over the world. Like that was just when we got married, we were like, we don't care. So the traveling wasn't as big of a deal to me because we already did that. We would
Got
just save up all year long and then go one big trip. And but like the car and so I had this like picture and vision of what it was. Um, but like I just thought I would never achieve that. Like that was never something I believed I could do. I had very limiting beliefs. One of them being that, my mother-in-law was a very strong emerald. We're in the same family. Her son and I have been together since we were 16. Our circle is the same. Um, and so I just believed that um I don't have a big enough network outside of her to create my own momentum and my own business,
Yeah.
which is very limiting and not true. So when I have builders come in and say, "Oh, well, it's tapped out here or what," and I'm like, "We have two jewels in the same family. Don't talk to me about being tapped out. You're not tapped out."
Yeah, I love that. Well, we're going to come back to limiting beliefs in a second. I want to go ahead, since you shared your point journey, I'm going to go ahead and share. Let's see. I want you guys to see this present. Can y'all see my screen? Madison, can you see my screen? Okay. Do y'all see this? So she joined in, I wish I would have extended it because it starts in August 23. She joined in 2017, didn't go gold until 2019. No,
2020.
that's right, 2020. She got the iPad and then in 2020 went gold. Okay, so for 3 years, she played in gold land. Okay, 3 years. August 23, she was not a maintaining gold. 78 points. And when did you go to gold school? Today, a year ago?
A year ago today, yeah.
So right around here when she was at 71 points,
Mhm.
that's when she went to gold school. Leaders are made at events. Tell us what happened at that gold school. Like, was there a shift like in your mindset then? What impact did gold school have on you?
Yeah, so events are very important to get to in-person events. I stress this to my team. I'm like, y'all have got to get to in-person events because they're so inspiring and they give you a peek inside of what Plexus can be. And that's why I like all of the old golds. If you've been gold a long time, you know that, or if you've been here a long time, like when we went gold, there was no gold school, there was no gold party, there was no gold anything really. It was like, woohoo.
Right.
Um, and so, um, it was another carrot. Gold school was like another carrot to me. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it because I want to go to Austin with Ange. Like we travel together and have like the best time, my mother-in-law and I. So I was like, I want to go to Austin with you. So the experience in Austin was amazing. Uh they lay out really um good like foundational steps for you to take. And the one thing that they told me there that really like sparked, like got my brain going, um was that I think they said something like an average diamond has like 40 level ones ordering a month and might have like 50 people in their level ones in their back office. And I went that day and I counted and I had like 60 level ones. And I was like, huh, okay, that's interesting. So that was really the biggest thing I took away from that. And gold school is very important, but also if you're one of those people, and I am, where you're inspired for a moment and then you're like, that's great, but I still can't do it. That's okay and that's normal. And that's exactly how I was. So I
Mhm.
came out of gold school with this, like, on one hand, like a dream. Oh my word, I have plenty of people in my back office to go diamond. And then
Mhm.
on the other hand, I was like, that's great, but it'll never be me.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? And so, the limiting belief of like, I don't have builders, I can't find anyone. You
Mhm.
know, we've all said it. I just can't find anyone that wants to share. If you keep telling yourself those things, I promise you, you will not find anyone that wants to
Right.
share. So that was my biggest takeaway out of that experience. But Gold School is phenomenal. I've been a couple times now, I think, with my gold legs. So if you haven't gone, you need to go.
I love that. Okay, so gold school, for those of you that are newer that don't know, once you hit the level, the rank of gold, you get invited to gold school, and they have them at different locations in the country. And Plexus Corporate puts these on, and they go all out for a full day of training. They give you your meals, you get some swag, and like Genevieve is there, great corporate trainers are there, and it is something to be celebrated. And you want to be at Gold School 100%. And you get an invite to the Gold Party at convention. So, gold is a huge deal, and Gold School is a huge deal. And 100% leaders are made at events. Listen, can you, if it, she, Madison just told you she got the vision that she could be a diamond at Gold School. And I think that's so relatable, Madison. Like, I could do it. Oh my gosh, I can't do it. I can do it. Oh my gosh, I can't do it. I mean, it's kind of biblical. God, I
Yeah.
believe, help my unbelief, right? I mean, it's like, yes, you can do it. Oh my gosh, can you do it? But that's normal. And as long as you keep going, I want to go back and share my screen again so you guys really see this. Um, oh, it went away. Okay, present. Check this out. Look at this compound effect. Okay, why are you not presenting? Let me move this. Present. Because this is just so powerful. Look at Madison's point. So October of 23, she was at 71 points. She goes to gold school. Okay, so you come back and you know that you can go diamond, but you're afraid, can I really go diamond? Tell me what you are thinking during this time to get to senior gold in December.
So, one thing I've always done really well is worked sales. Like when we have a sale or when we have something free, like everyone loves something free. And like I said, I'm a homeschool mom. I stay at home with my kids. Um and so I do have a very limited network. So one of the things I have done consistently to build my network is go to vendor events. I live in Tennessee. I do live on a mountain in the middle of nowhere, but within an hour, there are vendor events from there within an hour from me, there are vendor events year round. Tennesseans love going to vendor events. And so between my mother-in-law and I, we signed up for every single one we could do. And I would just go to vendor events, add people or have them add me on Facebook. Um, and so what happened specifically in that time frame was I was really ready to quit. I was really over it, to be honest, over the back and forth of my business, the ups and the downs. Like I was just kind of over it. And so I was really ready to quit. But November came, I did this one vendor event, y'all, was massive. And we had the free reset. They launched the free reset like right before this vendor event. So I went into that going, okay, I have this free $90 3-day reset that people can lose a minimum of 6 pounds on in 3 days, right before the holidays. Like this is my game plan. So I went in with a game plan, and I ended up adding 15 level ones that month. And I hadn't been adding hardly anyone. So I was like, okay, whoa, like this is insane. And so out of that, I reached back out to a girl who had been telling me no, that she wasn't going to share for 2 years. Loved the products, wasn't going to share for 2 years. She told me yes, that she would share. And then one of my new people in 3 weeks went from pre-diabetic to normal range A1C and started sharing because of the reset. And I so anyway, so I ended up adding 21 total that month because there was 6 more between the two of them. And I was like, okay. And I did have a little bit of PTSD from all the builders that had quit. Just being honest. It was a little rough. And I prayed to God, like, Lord, please don't let them quit. Please don't let them quit. But then that month I ended up earning Punta Cana. And then people were like, okay, whoa. Like she just earned this trip. Then I went to Punta Cana. One of those people that joined me in November, I didn't know, but she had found me on Facebook. She is now my Fast Start Senior Ruby.
Wow.
And and also did not upgrade for 2 months after adding her spouse.
Wow.
uh yeah. So like you just never know who's watching or who's going to show up when you don't even expect it. So, like, who you don't even know. Like, when my singer Ruby messaged me, I was like, who the heck are you? Like, I had no idea who she was. And she was like, oh, I'm Mary Graham. I'm like, great. I don't know who you are. And so she was like, we're just Facebook friends. And, and so it goes on. And now, guys, she is one of my closest friends. I talk to her, I cry to her, I laugh with her. Like, the Lord knows. And then all of the builders that had quit me before are back working. One of them is a Ruby now. The other one, we're still working on her. She'll be a rock star once she catches the vision. Um, but you just can't give up.
That's right. Well, one of the things I love about what you're saying is the consistency. And even when, like in November, and you were adding all these people, you started sharing the business.
Mhm.
And one because of her great results, and the other one wanted to share for the income. So, did you like what switched in your brain to start sharing the opportunity versus
Mhm.
just the products?
Um, I think I really swapped. There was like a shift in my brain about that when I added so many people in 1 month, and I saw my paycheck be like and then be like, "Whoa, okay." Like now I have a little, because like sometimes if you've been gold a really long time or you're not re-ranking to whatever your rank is, you almost feel unworthy to like share an income that you haven't made yourself yet. And I totally felt that on many levels at many different times. But once I kind of got the bigger paycheck, I was like, okay, because when I came in, there was no fast start.
Right.
Like there was no fast start. You made what you made. Like it was still amazing, but it was much different.
Right.
And so there was all these fast start bonuses for people to earn. And I just was like, people need this. Like people, like I have now made this paycheck. Like I feel like I can finally share, which you don't have to wait till that paycheck comes to share. But
Mhm,
this was in my head, another limiting belief.
mhm,
And so that kind of shifted as well. And that's what kind of made me start talking about the business along with earning Punta Cana
mhm.
and all of that. So
Right. Well, I love that. And then, of course, you kept going. I think, let's see, and let me go back to my graphic. I don't need to share my screen again. But in January, you were at 299 points. And then February, you went from 299 points to 760 points. That is over 400 point growth. And then the next month in March, 1545, almost doubled your team. So tell me, like everybody wants to know, and they're saying, how did you do this? How did you do this? How did you do this? So, Madison,
yeah.
how did you do this?
So, this is the part that people are always like, really? They think it's a little woo-woo, but it's just is what it is. And this is what changed my business and my life. So, when I was stuck at gold, um, I had invested in some life coaching. Not that everyone should invest in life coaching, that I just did. I was between therapy or life coaching. It had to be one or the other. And I could do life coaching and have a little bit of plexus in with my personal crap, or I could do, just personal stuff. And I wanted to grow a plexus business. So I started life coaching and really working on personal growth um because I grew up with a single parent who is a narcissistic abuser and it had continued into my adulthood. I hated myself. I hated who I was. I had gained a ton of weight. Um, and it was a real problem. It was reflecting in my marriage and my children. Um, and so my husband had told me, I had said, it's going to cost this much money. We didn't have that much money, but I said, it's going to cost this much money. And he said, I don't care what it costs. If it helps you, we'll do it. And I was like, okay. So I decided to go the life coaching route so I could get places and personal. And so basically, in that time frame, I was getting coached personally on how to drastically change my life. And I had gone zero contact with my parent. And after that, I lost 35 pounds. I was able to gain some sense of confidence. My marriage was changing for the better. My children were acting better. I had people coming up to me asking me like what has changed in your life because your children are behaving, you're not crying, you're wearing makeup, you look amazing, like what is going on? And so all of that plays into like this person the internet was seeing me transform into. And I've not been super open publicly about it because I would never want to bash anyone publicly, no matter how bad they've hurt me or whatever. But like know I can help other women who have been mentally abused by a parent or whatever for a really long time. And so I've decided to start sharing about that. And so that kind of led into this um, personal growth journey that people were watching me take on social media. And people were noticing, like, holy cow, you look different. You curled your hair today. You show your face on Facebook. Like, I all of a sudden was okay to like get in my stories and talk to my audience. And so, um, people started noticing and they were watching this transformation happen. And a lot of people, I think, on my team that are on my team now had been watching that and saw the confidence grow in myself, in my business, in my products, in my home. And I mean, they might not have wanted the same thing for the same reasons that they had the same issues going on, but they saw me lose 35 pounds in 5 months, not starving myself to death. And we're like, holy cow, how is she doing this? And so it was kind of like a catalyst to this massive journey I never imagined I would be on. I never thought I would need to lose 35 pounds, but there I was. Um, and so when I'm coaching my team or I'm on these calls, people always ask me, like, what did you do? What do I do? What's the magic? Like, the magic is personal growth. And it does not matter where you're at. If you're a diamond, you can still grow. Like, there's still personal growth to be had at every rank, every stage of life, whether you're about to become a parent or don't have kids or you're married or you're not married, there's always work that needs to be done.
Mhm.
And so for me, um I got kind of to the end of this journey. I hit Emerald and I was like, okay, like I feel pretty good about myself. So what do I do now? Like, and that's a big part I coach on too with my team is like, well, what do I do now? Or maybe you feel that way because you don't have childhood trauma or you just don't really know where you can grow. And so I've started exploring like where can I grow? And so for me, I have started to grow in leadership. I'm like, okay, I never knew how to be a leader. So let me figure that out. And like one thing I also stress to people is like you don't have to go out and pay some big bucks to someone to get the personal growth. Like for some people it might be life coaching. For some people it might be therapy. For some people it might be a book. Like it's different for everyone
Mhm.
and you just have to figure out like where your lane is and then head that direction. And
Mhm.
when you start growing, you start showing up and people notice, and that's where the momentum comes in. And so when I was riding these huge waves for momentum, I had no idea that the Lord had been preparing me for years for this moment where my business was going to explode and my points were doubling and tripling and quadrupling so fast. But this whole time I had been like pouring into myself and so when the wave came, I was ready to ride it all the way. And so that's exactly what I've done and my team has done. And I've had team members that are like, I don't know what personal growth and I can't give them an answer. I'm like, I don't have an answer for you. It will come, but just do the things. The answer will come. And they've all had breakthroughs. They've all had historic moments in their lives and their businesses. And so that's my biggest preach is I'm like, it doesn't matter where you come from, what you're doing, who you are, if you're a diamond, if you're a silver, there's always growth to be had. And you will not get anywhere in this business if you don't do it.
Mhm.
So.
I love that so much, and our team does too. The chat is absolutely blowing up. I love it. And one of the things that, well, so much of what you said, but you said, when because you had been working on yourself, when the wave came, you were ready and you didn't know that God had been preparing you. So, like, when you look at that graph of your points, it looks like all of a sudden, boom, it takes off. But it really is the compound effect of consistently showing up, consistently working on yourself, growing who you are. And I think it's so fascinating that it wasn't even you growing in sales skills or growing in product knowledge. It was you growing as a human, as a daughter of God, growing into your potential, whether it was communication skills, conflict, whatever it was. As you developed yourself, you had the capacity to ride and hold what God wanted to give you. Brittany has said this, and I say this to my team all the time. you need to be willing to work as hard on yourself as you are on your business, if not more. And the more you grow as a person is the amount that your business will grow. I could not love your story anymore, Madison. And I know we're just like 2 minutes over, but I have one more question for you because you're awesome. Okay. So you talked about, and we made reference to limiting beliefs. One of them was like for you, your business builders that had left. Would I ever get business builders again? Or how could there be two Jules in the same little place or whatever? How did you learn to overcome some of your limiting beliefs?
Well, I think a lot of it took a lot of eye-opening. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't just like well, okay, well for one thing, listen to a lot of podcasts. Okay, I feel so bad when I talk about this on other people's calls, but like I'm not a reader. I am dyslexic. I am extremely ADD. Like I cannot have one thought last for more than like 2 seconds and I'm on to the next one. And so I'm not a reader. I don't read. But I do listen. I am a listener. So if you're not a reader, download Audible. It'll do you a lot of favors. But podcasts were a huge thing for me. And so I would listen to different Diamonds or Jules or even people outside of um the company. And I really wanted to expand my knowledge in food and just different things, like so that I had all of this knowledge. One, to help people on their weight loss journey, because that's the journey I was now going on. And so all of this played into um the limiting beliefs. For one, that I didn't know enough to do this because I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, I started to feel more equipped. Like, okay, I'm gaining the knowledge. And so that was one thing, one way I overcame like that limiting belief. I'm not a professional or I'm not a whatever. By the way, I tell people now I'm a professional network marketer. Um, but um anyway, so that was one way I overcame like that. But as far as like overcoming the whole network thing, like my network's not big, whatever, um, that just took really a lot of building on my part, going into groups. And like I go into Facebook groups. I still do this all the time, and I will carry on conversations with people in the comments, and then we become friends and so on and so forth. Um, and so expanding my network that way, but then also like I think a huge part of that, getting over that belief was going to the vendor events. And when people would say, "Oh no, I haven't heard of Plexus," I'd be like, "What you mean you haven't heard of Plexus?" Like my mother-in-law has like 4 million Facebook friends. What do you mean you haven't heard of Plexus? So there was like a lot of just kind of proving it to myself. Um, and just creating my own network. Like I have a girl that's been on the products, no joke, for like 4 years. Is that right? Yeah. And she's in remission from lupus for the first time in her life. And I met her on a Peloton mom's page.
I love it.
And I didn't say a word to her about Plexus.
Yeah, I
And
love
so and she doesn't share, whatever.
it.
But still, I'm like, you just don't know where the people are going to come from. And it's been very encouraging,
Mhm.
especially to other people that like, for one, I did not know my senior Ruby, and she has a very strong leg. I didn't know any of them at all. They didn't know me. They didn't know my mother-in-law. And so it's been really encouraging to have people that I didn't know or that
Right.
didn't know me or didn't know her all of a sudden decide to become part of this journey.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I love what you said. I mean, basically, you just didn't let those things stop you. There was two things that you did. The one thing is that you took action, regardless of the belief, is that you took action. You did it afraid. You got into groups. You were looking for people. You did events. You took action. And then the other thing was that you built your competence. Competence yields confidence. So if you didn't know something, you would search it out. And I think those two are really key because we all have those limiting beliefs, right? And I think what you did was brilliant because you gained knowledge, but you also took action. And I think you really need both. And I think that's part of, allowed you to increase that capacity and get you where you wanted to go was that you did both. You learned and you took action, which I absolutely love. Madison, I could sit here and talk to you all night long. I think you're just a wealth of knowledge and for I know that there's people on this call that have maybe been at a rank for a while, not holding rank for a while. They may be not where they want to be. If you could go back and tell yourself, you know, 71 points a year ago, 2 years ago, or to the people that are where you were, what would you say to them just in closing up?
Yeah, I love this question because this is something actually that was said to me by my
Mm.
mother-in-law when I was doing hair in my basement to make an extra $100 here and there so that I could go get my hair done. Um, and so I was doing her hair in my basement and she said to me, "What if this took you 10 years? Like, what if it takes you 10 years to become a diamond? Would it be worth it to you to be making more than a neurosurgeon in 10 years? Just stick with it." And like that has always stuck with me. And now I have been in Plexus for years and I look back and I'm like, yeah, it was 100% worth it because guess what? I paid the mortgage on our brand new home. I paid for my car. I bought my first brand new Suburban myself. I have been able to contribute financially to my household. My husband doesn't have to work as much. And if it took 10 more years for me to become a diamond, 100% I would do it. It's so worth it. And there's nothing like, even my husband said after Hawaii, he was like, we could have come here, or we actually have been there together. And he was like, we could have come here, but it would not have been near the experience as it was with Plexus because we took our kids, we got to watch our daughter create relationships with other Plexus kids, run around with new friends. And when we left, she said her favorite part of the trip was hanging out with her new friends. She's
Oh,
7. I know. And so like seeing my family like really glean in the moment, like makes it all worth it. You know, all the time I cried because I didn't feel good enough, or I didn't feel cute enough, or pretty enough, or like I had a big network, or all of the things. Like it was all growth moments, and I just, it has been so worth it. And if it takes me 10 more years to go diamond, Lord, I hope it doesn't. But if it does, it will be so worth it because it's not even about the income,
that's right.
like the opportunity, the community, seeing this community that my girls have built, watching my girls go to dinner together, even if I can't go, or, having lunch together, or like that didn't know each other before this. That is the most rewarding thing, like outside of having children and building family, but like the most rewarding part of this entire business is just seeing everything it's created and knowing if I would have quit when I wanted to in 2023, like none of that would have come to fruition. So don't quit, don't give up. If it takes you 10 years, was it worth it? I tell my girls that now. Like I have some girls that are at gold and they're doing all the things and they're like, I'm doing everything. And I'm like, I know you are. Keep doing it. If it takes 10 years, keep doing it because
Yes.
it will pay off.
Yes.
So sorry, that's a long closing. I told you I can talk.
It was perfect, Madison. Thank you so much. 100% it is worth it. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for sharing your wisdom and your your story with us. I don't think it's going to take you 10 years, but even if it will be worth it. Thank you so much, Madison.
You're
Okay,
so welcome.
everybody, have a great night. Good night.
Bye.